the current director of national intelligence. She'll be threatening CNN with a lawsuit because now, Will, it seems like CNN, they really care about voter integrity and making sure people have proper ID when voting, because this is another kind of unfounded claim that they're going to throw at someone like Tulsi to try to just take him down another peg.
That's right. So as you mentioned, they tried to take Tulsi Gabbard down by saying she was a puppet of Putin, a puppet of Assad, friendly with terrorists. You know, they've been spewing what we would consider defamatory things, trying to defame her. But when you're a public figure, that bar is very high. So it's not unusual or shocking that these news agencies would come after Tulsi Gabbard and say things to try and discredit her or make her look bad. But it appears that the attorneys that sent this letter to CNN and this cease and desist letter, that it's become aware to them that CNN is going to publish a story that is inferring she's no longer a resident of Hawaii, does not have residency there, and is in fact a resident of another state. And therefore, when she voted in Hawaii, committed something which I thought was a myth, according to CNN and the left, or something that sparks an insurrection, that she may have committed voter fraud if she voted there. Now, the letter details why these allegations that they are reportedly going to report are false, why they are wrong on the law, and why she is, in fact, a resident of Hawaii and did not violate any laws by voting there.
I think one in the report, it said, you know, if you had to choose between being a resident of Texas or Hawaii, you'd probably go with Texas just due to, I don't know, the taxes being a lot lower, it actually being a little bit of more of a swing state, if you will, as Hawaii is pretty much blue and has been blue forever. So, again, what are the benefits of being a Hawaiian over being a Texan? Now, of course, a lot of this was for her own security, her own safety, and that's even what is stated in some of these comments and quotes, that, you know, she wanted to make sure that she's protected. Obviously, as someone who's threatened a lot, quite a bit. And, you know, we don't do a great job in this country of protecting people's personal and private information. It seems like that is easily found and shared. And we know it's been shared for nefarious reasons.
But here's what the deal is with this. Her attorney sent a letter to CNN because they have been notified that CNN was planning on publishing a story that they say falsely asserts or implies that Tulsi Gabbard committed voter fraud and suggests that she had abandoned her long-standing Hawaii residency. Director Gabbard is, and intends to remain a Hawaii resident. That is where she lives, pays taxes, and of course, votes. And just anecdotally, we've connected with her many times when it is very early in the morning because she is in Hawaii.
I mean, obviously, she travels a lot now, is in Washington, D.C., primarily, I would assume.
Right. But yes, where her job is currently. But how many senators never return home to their home state but don't give up their residency of Idaho when they are in Washington, D.C.? But it is interesting because what it seems like they're trying to harp on here is that there is property she owns in Texas and that there is a homestead exemption that was claimed in Texas, and where they refute this, saying any suggestion she's no longer a resident because she took the advice of local officials to register a homestead exemption to protect her and her family's privacy is flat wrong, factually and legally. Texas case law is clear that just because a person has claimed a homestead exemption at one property does not preclude them from being a resident somewhere else. Then they go on to say, and this is where the teeth of this letter come, because it's not just don't publish it. And normally, when you are a public figure, it is hard to get to that bar of defamation. But that's exactly what the attorneys here are threatening CNN with. The proposed publication of these allegations constitute defamation under applicable law. Defamation involves the publication of a false statement that injures a party's reputation. In this case, the allegations against Ms. Gabbard are demonstrably false and have the potential to cause significant harm to her personal and professional reputation. Publication of such false statements with reckless disregard for the truth meets the legal standard for defamation. And they go on to say that if they do, proceed with publication of these allegations, we will not hesitate to pursue all available legal remedies to protect Ms. Gabbard's rights. This may include initiating a defamation lawsuit, seeking substantial damages, and requesting injunctive relief to mitigate further reputational harm.
I am not for someone who wants to censor the press and thinks that we should be in there. And look, I think we've had a lot of those calls that call in and say, well, why aren't we going after CNN? Why are we going after MSNBC? It's not only about your political differences. I think that is fair game. And look, everyone kind of spins it in their own direction. There is news that is particularly aimed at certain audiences. There's no way to watch MSNBC and not see the slant. CNN tries to hide it a little better. But even I remember that time, it was Caitlin Collins or someone was on Colbert, and she said, we're always trying to be, neutral, fair, neutral. And the crowd laughed. And then she was like, that wasn't a joke. I don't know if it was her. I don't want to make sure that
it was Caitlin Collins with Colbert.
And you saw that response from an audience, a actual guttural native laugh, a real laugh, something you can't fake because they know that that's not true. And you can look at the lineup of hosts. Of course, Fox's lineup stacked with conservatives. But as Quentin Tarantino once said, they have Jessica Tarloff. Who does MSNBC have? Michael Steele? When was the last time he was actually a Republican?
Conservative.
Yeah. I mean, it's like no one really pulls weight there.
Well, but what you are starting to see is a trend where a lot of times, because of the First Amendment and the freedom of press, which we are adamantly supportive of, 100%. Have started to see a shift. And NBC News just settled with a $30 million defamation case with a Georgia doctor. There have been CBS came to a settlement with President Trump over issues he had with them during the campaign. This is now starting to be a pattern where people are calling their bluff. So while you look at the statements previously against Tulsi, which are arguably meant to defame her, calling her a puppet of Putin or having commentators on to express their opinion that she may be too cozy with Assad, that they can get away with. But when you start trying to cite that you committed a crime, a statute violation that would harm your reputation, when they are showing the law where this was not the case, and if they still go forward with that, that is where you could see the jump for a public figure of publishing something that then at that point they know is false, and then are still trying to do that to harm the reputation. If you could go after people for defaming a public figure, then every corporation that is a major broadcaster would be bankrupt, because how many times they called President Trump Hitler or a fascist. Those are not true statements, but you get away with a lot of rhetoric when it is a public figure.
There's a lot of comments going, well, don't they have broadcast things? They have rights in the FCC. Well, these are cable outlets. So the rules are a lot less. These are private companies. These are not over-the-air broadcasts. Look, is it archaic? Maybe that we have those different rules? Yeah, probably in 2025. Do I think the FCC should exist? Yes. Do I actually think they should be a little looser than they are a lot of times? Also, yes. I think some of the rules and regulations are, like I said, very archaic. But remember, you're dealing with a different situation when you're watching your local news or even NBC News on the weekends, whatever, than you are in MSNBC, or you are a CNN, or a Fox News for that matter. There's a lot less regulation. There still is some, but a lot less regulation. We are so excited to announce the ACLJ's brand new app, completely redesigned to provide you with the best tools available to partner with us at the ACLJ. You can watch the daily Secular program, sign the petitions, customize your ACLJ membership experience, donate with the click of a button, and receive up-to-the-minute critical updates that the mainstream media can't censor. Just scan the QR code on your screen or go to your phone's app store, search ACLJ, and click install. It's that simple.